Hey guys, hey, it's Jim Cuba with Mr. Cuba's Car Culture.
I'm Chris Santos, joining Jim today on a beautiful Oregon day.
Oregon day.
Now, Jim, tell us where we really are right now.
So guys, we are in the beautiful Los Angeles National Forest in the Mount Baldy area. We just came back from having some fun, shooting some videos in the tunnels and the nice twisty roads. And anyhow, so just wanted to give an introduction to Mr. Cuba's Car Culture channel. We're going to start building a lot more videos and just talking about cars in general. I mean, we are here in Southern California. The car culture is amazing here. We wanted to showcase this car today. This is a 2016 Caterham 7 replica that I personally built in my garage.
What led you to starting this project? What inspired you to do a replica on this car and even to go with this specific engine?
I saw one of these years ago at Chuckwalla Racetrack, which is east towards the Arizona border. We were at a race there. Back then I raced Mazda RX-7s and was big time into rotary engines and rotary cars and whatnot. So I had that engine and I saw a car that was just like this. But what was ironic about the car that was just like this that the guy did, it had a Hayabusa engine in it.
Oh wow, so a motorcycle engine.
Yes, so it was really cool, except he couldn't back it up. He had to get it, because motorcycles don't have reverse, right? So I saw that and my wife saw it and I loved it and I said, I got to build me one of those. And I've always wanted to build a home-built car.
A little bit more about the engine and what specifically you personally have done engine-wise, and who's helped you along the way
Sure.
to get this up and running.
So originally these cars would have come with a little Ford 4-cylinder engine, like a Kent engine is what they called it years ago. They probably made 50 horsepower. This engine is probably in the range of around 400 horsepower now.
A little more horsepower than stock.
What it is a Mazda Rotary 13B engine.
Okay.
It's been street ported. It was built by Kyle at Mazda Tricks back in about the year 2016. It's fully built from the ground up, brand new engine, so we didn't start with any used parts. We actually started, it's got, a Mazda RX-8 eccentric shaft, which, believe it or not, it's cheaper to buy an RX-8 eccentric shaft than to buy a turbo FC or FD eccentric shaft. It's got other hodgepodge of parts. It's got FC parts in it. It's got FD parts. Use Haltech fuel management, which is fully programmable from a laptop. It's got 1000cc injectors in it, and it runs a stage 2 turbo built by B&R Supercars out of Alabama. That's who built it.
Pulls up really quickly on this thing. There's no lag, and beautiful thing about taking turbos up into the mountains, there's no lag in the engine at all.
There is no, we're up at altitude right now. I don't know exactly how high we are. This goes on up to say 5,000 or 6,000, 7,000 feet, and it keeps feeding it. So
James, tell us a little bit more about the transmission and what's going on inside of there.
Originally I used a first gen RX-7 transmission, and I knew with this engine going to be making a lot more power than what a typical first gen RX-7 engine would make. Mazda Tricks rebuilt this transmission and used Mazda Miata internals.
Okay.
There's a couple of things that are better about that. One is the gears are stronger. And then we had the gears, some of the gears were actually cryogenically treated to make them stronger as well. But the best thing about using Miata internals is the gear ratios are better. And so it makes it a lot better for racing and a lot less of a drop between shifts. It's just more ideal for racing. This particular car, with the way it's set up right now, can do 75 miles an hour in second gear. So with the first gen, full-blown first gen RX-7 transmission, you wouldn't be able to do that. You'd have to go into third.
Yeah.
Rear end, rear axle wise, this uses a solid axle.
Okay.
Rear axle out of a first gen RX-7 as well. It's stock gears, which is 390 gears, and it has a stock limited slip differential. The only thing that's been upgraded on the rear end is I use custom-made Moser axles, again, to be able to handle the torque.
Gotcha.
And then the drive shaft had to be custom-made as well. Pretty much everything You can't just go to O'Reilly's or
Yeah.
you know, and just say, hey, I needed this. You have to custom do
So I know your
everything.
clutch is a little special. If you want to give a little bit of depth into that.
I was explaining that to Chris when we were coming up here. The clutch is like a light switch. It's either on or it's off. It doesn't like traffic. And so this engine has a very lightweight racing flywheel. It's about 1/3 of the weight of a stock flywheel. So it's aluminum flywheel, which allows it to rev up nice and quickly. But the clutch that's in it is a 3-puck racing clutch. And so it doesn't have a lot of smoothness to it. It's either on or off, right? So, other than that, brakes on the front.
What's stopping this thing? What's holding all the horsepower back?
It's a pretty simple recipe. These are stock Miata brakes on this car.
Okay.
I use Hawk pads, but other than that, the completely stock pads. One of the things that you can get by with that's so nice with these moderate sized braking is this car only weighs 1,350 pounds.
Okay.
So you're not having to stop so much weight.
Knowing how to engine brake, you're not always riding your brakes either way. So
right.
Like we've seen people in the mountains, everyone's just flooring the brakes the way down.
Yeah, we've smelt a lot of brake dust today, that's for sure.
Well, you definitely didn't cut any corners on the bodywork. Everything lines up perfectly. Everything looks very smooth and almost like an OEM car rolled out. I mean, this thing came out looking perfect.
Thank you.
Sweet. Paint and everything came out perfect.
Well, you mentioned paint. This car is not actually painted, it's wrapped.
That's right.
Yep, it sure is. And one of the reasons I did that, there's a few reasons that we wrapped it. One is I knew I was going to take it out and race it. So if I damaged a fender or hit something, I knew that I could easily fix it and then just go back and get it wrapped again.
Rather than going to a body shop, getting it painted. Yeah.
Right, so it'll always match. It's 3M wrap that's on it. And then also just speed. They were actually able to, by the time I took this to the shop to have them do the wrap, it was out the door in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
You can't do that with a body shop.
Definitely not, especially paint matching and all of that.
Yeah, so
the craziest part about this car, it's not the massive turbo, the crazy noises. I think the most crazy part of this that we haven't mentioned yet, this car is actually street legal.
That is true.
And tell us just how you were able to get this car street legal, if that's all right.
Sure, it's a good question. This is 100% California street legal. To make a home-built car street legal in the state of California, there's a thing called Senate Bill 100. And it's a nice piece of legislature that California has. It was actually, the story I've been told was the guy who pushed it through, or the California state senator that pushed it through, was a Cobra kit car builder himself. And he wanted to have a convenient way of making these home-built cars street legal. So the state of California allows 500 of these home-built cars to be registered in the state of California street legal.
And that's every year?
Every year.
Yeah, so if you guys are listening and you're trying to build one, hop on it once a year. It only comes around.
First off, you go to the DMV and you tell them you want to register a home-built car. Or the CHP, and they'll verify that each of the components in this are not stolen.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that the VIN numbers and things like that work out. Interesting, fun factoid, Mazda Rotary engines don't have VIN numbers.
Oh, wow.
No. So
do they just give you a pass with that, or
they let me have a pass, but I had to prove they don't come with VINs.
Yeah.
So I was able to let them know by data that they don't. So after I got it built, then you go through the Bureau of Automotive Repair, and this has to be smog compliant for a 1965 model car, which they didn't have much. I think at that time all they had was crankcase ventilation, which it does.
Okay.
The beauty about that is it never has to be smogged ever again. It's smog exempt. The whole process took me about 2 or 3 months to get it street legal. Okay. And now it's just...
Why wouldn't you want to get this smog, James? I mean, come on. That's everything.
That's true. That's true.
Gas, it's eco-friendly.
It's nice because you can drive it anywhere. I've got it insured through Hagerty. Hats out to Hagerty. And it was really fairly easy. And it's got full coverage insurance on it. So I was able to explain to them what it was, and they insured it. I've got several of my classic cars insured through Hagerty. So,
beautiful. Well, thank you so much, James, for the time to take us up here and enjoy a beautiful day in Oregon. It's California. It feels like it up here. I mean, most people don't really know the road. So let's talk a little bit more about the scenery over here. How did you find the roads just cruising by, or how specifically did you find this one here?
That's a good question. So I'm not a native Californian. I grew up in Texas. And so when I first came to California years ago, I was so intrigued with everywhere. And I just loved to get away and loved to drive. And so, we live right down the hill from here. And so basically I just started driving. I started trying to find all these roads that are ideal places to go drive. And so this is right up the road from where we live. It's a beautiful road. It's very windy, and it's just fun. Also, with future videos on Mr. Cuba's car culture, is simply talk about the driving roads, and I'm gonna call them driving roads because there's so many of them here in Southern California.
People don't know about it.
They don't know about them.
People
Right.
who aren't from California don't know we have views like this. We have mountains. It's not all beach.
Right. So here, this is what we call Mount Baldy. There's some other areas in the future videos we'll do. There, Lake Arrowhead. There's a road called the 2 that goes up to Newcomb's Ranch, where a lot of people, car culture, a lot of car hangouts, and motorcycles, cars. You'll see everything up there. Some great driving roads down in Orange County, Ortega Highway, different ones like that we'll see in the future.
Definitely looking forward to seeing those. But for today, let's wrap it up with some more shots of the car, and let's keep pushing this thing.
Sounds good.
Talking to you, James. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.